So this is the human-in-the-loop calendar agent built in n8n. So it's a smart, no-code calendar agent that prevents double bookings, resolves attendee emails from your CRM, and suggests optimal time slots and never executes until you personally approve every action. So the human-in-the-loop pattern, this archetype represents a fundamental shift in how we think about calendar automations for business context. So unlike fully autonomous agents that execute immediately, this pattern introduces strategic human checkpoints at critical decisions. So the core workflow follows a deliberate sequence, right? So intent detection, services, and actionable proposal. You provide feedback or approval, and then the corrections are applied if needed, and only then does the final execution occur. So why is human-in-the-loop matter? For client-facing operations and acquisition flows, mistakes are costly. Wrong email addresses, incorrect meeting times, or misidentified clients can damage relationships, and this pattern lets AI handle the heavy lifting while maintaining human judgment for edge cases. So how the correction agent works. You first get the original intent, so the user's initial calendar request captured and structured, human feedback for correction, preferences, or clarifications, rich intent, so provides proposal combining both inputs, and then final approval. So the correction agent takes your original intent plus your feedback, intelligently merges them into a revised intent, and then sends back to you for final sign-off. This creates a feedback loop that can iterate multiple times until you're satisfied with the proposed action. Once you approve the workflow, the workflow hands the complete validated intent to the calendar agent, which performs the actual create, update, or delete operations on your calendar system. Here is what the workflow will look like, right? We use Telegram as a trigger, or you could use Slack. The intent agent finds the Airtable contact or high-level CRM, whatever you use for your database, and the get event sets the intent. It uses this node specifically to identify and send message back to Telegram. It checks the feedback. It uses 4.0 mini to be able to think whether it's approved or denied. It goes to the correction agent. If denied, if it is approved, the calendar agent then either does a series of tasks and response back to Telegram once complete. So this can be used for, let's say, a lead or a client wants to reschedule an appointment, right? And then you can have essentially is instead of an appointment setter or an account manager rearrange that time, you can have the AI agent do so for you, saving you a lot of time and a lot of hassle actually, reorganizing times and appointments. Again, it works great as well if you were a local business owner, reorganizing times to an appointment times, right? Or it worked really well as well if you are running a call center for your clients and you wanted to reorganize times for your clients' appointments. Here's an example of creating a calendar event. Right? So the request is create an event with Michael Scott for dinner at 5. The natural language request triggers the intent agent, which immediately begins querying multiple data sources to build a complete picture of what you are asking for. It goes into 4 steps, right? The intent detection, which messages hits the intent agent. Data gathering, so the system finds conflicting events and discovers 2 contexts. The human loop, so the assistant services the ambiguity. The clarification, you respond with specific instructions about email preferences and client confirmation. How to handle feedback correctly. Now, when the feedback form opens, you essentially provide 2 pieces of information. First, send the invitation rather than personal. Send the invitation to businesses to Michael's business email rather than your personal. Second, to confirm the 5 p.m. dinner works despite calendar conflict. Right. The workflow routes this feedback to the correction agent, which combines original intent. You now have a refined message over here. So the calendar execution confirmation. Once you confirm the calendar agent then springs into action. It creates the event in Google Calendars with precise details. The event appears immediately in your calendar, complete with attendee information, meeting duration, and this execution phase demonstrates the power of the pattern. By the time the calendar agent runs, all ambiguity has been resolved, all preferences captured, and all conflicts acknowledged. Now, again, for the sakes of the presentation, I'll leave the demo.
Morning. I'm Stephanie, an AI voice assistant from GoHighLevel University AI. I'm here to demonstrate how our voice assistant capabilities can help your business handle customer calls, book appointments, and so much more. To get started and personalize this demo for you, what's the name of your business?
Hey, it's Daily HVACs.
Great. Daily HVACs. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. Can you tell me a little about your business so I can personalize this demo? For example, what services do you typically offer and what does a typical customer call look like for you?
Yeah, we got people inquiring about our services. We do typical HVAC services. We're just very busy on the weekend and we can't really take many calls.
Perfect. That makes total sense. HVAC is definitely a busy industry, especially on weekends when people need emergency repairs or seasonal tune-ups. So you're getting a lot of inbound calls that you're missing because your team is swamped. That's exactly what we can help with. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that info. This is a basic demo designed to show how our AI handles inbound calls for your business and books appointments. I can also handle outbound calls, two-way texting, Facebook and Instagram direct messages. There would be much more customization for your specific business, but let's dive in so you can see how your voice assistant could handle calls you might normally miss or need staff to take. I'm going to start the demo now, and I'll tell you when it's over. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Perfect. Here we go. Hello, and thank you for calling Daily HVACs. I'm Stephanie, Daily HVAC's AI voice assistant. You can speak to me just like you would the team here. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I just want to learn more about your services.
Great question. We offer a full range of HVAC services, everything from routine maintenance and inspections to emergency repairs, system replacements, and seasonal tune-ups to keep your system running smoothly. To point you in the right direction, are you calling about a specific issue you're experiencing right now, or are you looking to schedule preventative maintenance?
Yeah, what's your price?
That's a fair question. Our pricing really depends on the specific service you need, whether it's a simple maintenance visit, a repair, or a full system replacement. Each job is a bit different. What I can do is get some details about what you're dealing with, and then one of our technicians can give you an accurate quote when we schedule your appointment. So are you experiencing an issue with your system right now, or is this...
Yeah, but in essence, this would be an example of a demo showcasing the power of the human-in-the-loop calendar agents, where the intent agent activities occur. You identify the event, but then change the proposed time, and then it will execute it with feedback. There are also a series of automations of workflows that occur, one of which is deleting calendar events. So how does this work? Deletion requires the same careful confirmation, right? So you say, actually just delete my dinner for tonight, and the workflow springs into action. So the system grabs the events, details, presents them clearly for confirmation, and then you reply yes. If it says yes, the event vanishes from the calendar and you can receive confirmation saying that it's completed. Every destructive action requires explicit human confirmation, right? So the system will never delete, modify, or create calendar entries without your approval, preventing automation accidents. So this is sort of the system architect overview. Again, I walked through very quickly, but this is how it works, right? So this is a wireframe. There is the message trigger, where the webhook connects to a messaging app, which captures the user's request. The intent agent, which parses natural language, queries calendars and CRM structures intent. The human loop, which is the service proposed action for approval or correction, which then moves on to the correction agent, so it merges feedback from original intent, produces revised proposals. The calendar agent, which executes approved actions by Google Calendar and API. So the intent agent is essentially the intelligence core, right? The intent agent, right, serves as the intelligent core for the system, so it receives raw user text via voice note or text from triggers and transforms it into a structured, actionable data. So this agent has access to two critical data sources: your calendar via Google Calendar API calls, and your contact database through either high-level CRMs or Airtable or Google spreadsheets, right, whatever you use. The primary responsibility here is to determine intent type, query contacts, check calendars, identify correct events, and then output structured JSON with all necessary fields. Now, intent agents, right? So the system prompt that you want to use is essentially working with the 6 steps. You define the role, right? So you are a calendar intent parser. The intent type classification, so analyze the user query and decide, is it create, update, delete, or move? The attendee resolution, so if an attendee is mentioned, use the context tool, fetch email address. The conflict detection, right? Always use get events when creating or updating or deleting. Structure output, so output a complete JSON intent, including date, time, and duration. Ambiguity handling, so when multiple contacts record exist for the same name, include all options with clear labels and request complication. So then next, which is the get tools, right? So if you detect a conflict, what happens? The get tool is powered by Google Calendar's get many operation and serves multiple critical functions in the workflow. So it's not just about finding conflicts, it's also about providing complete context for decision making. So when a user requests an action, the system queries all events from start to the end of the target date. This comprehensive scan yields the full landscape of scheduled activities, enabling intelligent conflict detection and precise event identification. The key functions include identifying, scheduling conflict, locating existing events, extracting event IDs, and providing event details for human review and confirmation. Contact tools such as CRM integrations, right? We use GoHighLevel to resolve attendee identities. So when a user mentioned someone by name, the tool searches the contact table and returns matching email addresses along with the personal metadata. You can use either business contacts or personal contacts. When CRM returns multiple, right? So the same person could have multiple contacts for business and personal. The intent agent includes all options in the output, and this triggers the human in the loop to ask which email you prefer, ensuring the invitation reaches the correct inbox. Then you want to go on to the set intent node, which is the state manager. This node is important. Right? It's essentially the glue that holds the correction loop together. because the intent can be revised multiple times through feedback cycles, and the calendar agent needs a stable reference to the latent last intent. This node stores the JSON output from either the intent agent on first pass or the correction agent after the feedback. So downstream nodes always reads from this location, ensuring they can act on the most recent approval. All right, what we're talking about here is here. This one, check feedback, correction agent, and calendar agent. So without this pattern, you'd essentially miss the calendar agent executing a stale variant during feedback loop. So the set intent node acts as a single source of truth, updated with each iteration until final approval. Human loop nodes. So this is also very relevant because this node posts the generated intent back to the human in the same message thread. So we map the chat ID from the trigger to ensure responses return cleanly to the original conversation context. The response type is typically free text, context is provided, and the decision points are clearly approved or corrected pathway based on the use of the response. So the human loop design is what makes the system reliable for business use. For client-facing operations and acquisition flows, mistakes carry real costs. Wrong email addresses, incorrect meeting times, or misidentified clients can damage relationships and revenue. So the checkpoint lets AI handle parsing, matching, conflict detection, while preserving human judgment for edge cases and client preferences. And then penultimately, we also have the client feedback AI node, right? So this is also important, right? Because you want to give feedback whether or not the AI has made the correct judgment to do what you have told them to do. The feedback node serves as a deceptively simple but critical function, right? Because it classifies free text human responses into two basic buckets: approved or denied. The classification determines the workflow path. So approved responses go straight to the calendar agent. Denied responses route to the correction agent for refinement. The challenge here is that humans often reply with terse, context-dependent answers. So business means use business email. Personal could mean personal contact or personal calendar. The classifier is prompt engineered to correctly interpret these short, intent-bearing replies. And how it works is very simple, right? So the correction agent receives the two inputs, the original intent JSON and then the human feedback text. His job is to merge these into a new, complete intent that incorporates the requested changes while maintaining all fields required. So how it works is that the original intent occurs, human feedback occurs, it merges logic, and then it proposes the new proposal with the complete intent JSON with correction applied. Yeah, so the system prompt is essential because the correction agent prompts include critically constraints. It produces a new complete intent JSON that includes all required field data, so dates, start, and duration, summary, attendee, emails, and even event IDs. So if updating or deleting, if the feedback is ambiguous, ask one focused clarifying question. Otherwise, end with, is this correct, to enable human approval or the revised intent. And last but not least, we also have the calendar agent, right? So this is the next step where essentially the calendar agent is the execution of this engine in the system. It receives the latest intent JSON from the set intent and has one job only: turn that approved intent into the calendar routing. So you can talk about this, create events with the attendee, create the actual event, get the events, update the events, or delete events. So yeah, that is simply it. Customization, extensibility. So once you are comfortable and confident with making a specific workflow, you can then prompt engineer it even further. So you can adjust the intent agent promptly to be stricter or looser based on your use case, right? There are confidence thresholds, so for faster operations, you can add a confidence threshold if the intent agent is 95% confident and contexts are unambiguous, also approved for low-risk clients, right? CRM flexibility, so instead of high level, you can even wire different context sources, SQL-based CRMs, HubSpot, Salesforce, or even client-specific APIs. Just ensure the intent agent returns email addresses in the JSON because the correction agent will be requerying context during the loop. And last but not least, you can have multi-calendar support. So extend the get event tools to query multiple calendars simultaneously. With this, you can save 85% of reduction in manual calendar management overhead. Great for you, great for call centers, great for business owners who book appointments in. You can have booking errors as well. So with human in the loop validation, you can implement that, and then obviously even have multiple data sources as well. Perfect. Feel free to download this if you want us to build it out. Link in the description to learn more. And yeah, use templates, follow the instructions. If you have any questions, jump on any of our community calls, and we'll look forward to seeing your human in the loop agents built in n8n and how you're basically applying it for your day-to-day, either as a business owner or an online agency, coach, consultant, whoever you are in the world. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's practical. Thanks for watching.